Hey, it's Timbo here. Does selling freak you out? Well, you're not alone. It used to freak me out until I spoke with today's guest, who shares 5 keys to closing every sale. And boy, oh boy, they are not what I expected. Hey, before we get stuck in, today's episode, it's brought to you by Fastmail, private, secure, ad-free email hosting that's lightning fast. Packages start from less than $4 a month, and you can grab a free 30-day trial plus an exclusive 15% off your first year over at fastmail.com/Timbo. And we're also made possible thanks to 52ways.biz, a free one-day live event that is filling up very, very fast, hosted by small business expert Dale Beaumont for business owners who want to grow. You can grab your free tickets over at 52ways, that's 52ways.biz, B-I-Z, before it's too late.
Well, I said, welcome to a small business marketing show where successful small business owners share their souls to take your marketing straight to the lead. Now, here's your host, Mr. Timbo Reid.
And welcome back to another episode of Australia's #1 marketing show. I'm your host, Timbo Reid. You, infinitely more importantly, you're a motivated business owner. You're ready to crank out some great marketing to build that beautiful, beautiful business of yours into the empire it deserves to be. If it's your first time round, welcome. Don't be scared. Don't be shy. If it's your 100th, 200th, 300th time around, welcome back. Big show today. We're joined by gun salesman, not like gun salesman, like really good salesman, you know what I mean, Nicholas Lynch, who shares his 5 keys to nailing any sale. Don't expect things like getting the script right either, as his tips are much more emotional than they are rational. Resident techspert Dale Beaumont, I was going to say Jail Beaumont, that wouldn't be fair. He's not in jail. From 52 Ways joins us to share another productivity tool. I share another low-cost marketing idea, and we go back into the vault, revisiting a chat I had with the founder of Bounce, that very cool indoor playground experience. As per usual, team, there is marketing GOLD dripping from the ceiling over here at Small Business Big Marketing's HQ. So let's get stuck right in. Life just got a whole lot easier.
Hello, it's Dale Beaumont here from 52ways.biz, the best one-day business workshop ever, with another productivity tool to make your business life a whole lot easier. So what is the tool that I'm going to share with you today? Well, it's called a magalog. Now, I'm guessing you probably haven't heard of this term before, so let me explain why you'd actually use one. You see, the problem with many businesses is the only way that they can sell is just one-to-one or face-to-face, or maybe even over the phone. But the problem with this is it's not scalable. You can only sell to one person at a time. So if you really want to scale your business and you want to grow fast, what you need to do is leverage your time. Now, one of the best ways you can do that is by creating a magalog. Now, what is a magalog? Well, it's a cross between a magazine and a catalog. Magazines are designed to inform, catalogs are designed to sell. So when you take those two things and put them together, you have a magalog. Think of it like a brochure on steroids. Normally these are between 16 up to maybe 64 pages, and it's like a magazine designed to sell a product or a service. If you have a price point that's more than, say, $500, then these are a fantastic tool to help you to significantly grow your business. I'd love to talk to you more about these tools, so that's why you need to come along to one of my live events. There you go. I told you life would get a whole lot easier. This has been Dale Beaumont from 52ways.biz. Now, back to you, Timbo.
Life just got a whole lot easier. Hey, thanks, Dale. Maglog. Not a term I've heard before, but now that I've seen one, I'm absolutely loving them. I'll include an example, team, of one in the show notes over at smallbusinessbigmarketing.com/365. Hey, if you're loving the productivity tools Dale's sharing, why wouldn't you be? Then you're going to love his upcoming live event called 52 Ways. It's 8 hours of solid business building gold, and they're happening all around Australia and New Zealand starting in May. now. You can grab a free ticket for you and a friend or two now over at 52ways, that's 52ways.biz. Righto. Coming up after today's interview, I'll share another low-cost marketing idea in that segment we're all growing to love. Well, it's been going for 30 episodes now, called What Have You Got to Lose? But right now, let's meet today's successful business owner and red-hot salesman, Nicholas Lynch of Nicholas Lynch Real Estate. Now, I actually met Nicholas through one of my sons, who's best mates with his son. And I also used Nicholas to sell a house for me about 18 months ago, and he did a fantastic job. The guy is a sales machine. He loves everything about selling. So if you struggle with this part of your business, and many business owners and employees do, then you're going to absolutely love the 5 key concepts that Nicholas shares that'll all but guarantee you closing the sale each and every time. You know, one of Nicholas's mantras is A.B.C, always be closing. Love that. So I started off by asking Nicholas, what does he love about selling?
I think it's achieving something for someone. It's having people feel good. Yeah, when you, I'm in real estate sales, I relate it to houses. When someone achieves the result and you do it I think it can be stressful for people. So if you can achieve it with minimal stress and get the outcome beyond what they were expecting, exceeding people's expectations.
Right, okay.
I think it's just having people feel good. Yeah.
Okay, that's in the context of real estate, being a real estate agent.
Right.
But is that the true answer around? I mean, do you just love to sell? Could you sell anything?
I think no.
Right.
No, I couldn't. No, I think you can only sell what you love and what you really know. I know my product and I love it and I can sell it.
Okay.
Yeah, I've got five key ingredients to being a great salesperson.
Here's the agenda, is
And,
it? Let me just write that down. Just 5 key ingredients. That's great because I do. Yeah.
And I've always, and one of them is loving what you do. So, no, I could only sell real estate because that's what I love.
Okay.
And that's a key factor in the 5.
Well, while you're hot, mate, let's talk about, I was going to kind of save that to the second half because I do want to find out how Nicholas Lynch Real Estate came to be and what you've done to stand out. We'll cover that later. Let's get straight in. So 5 key ingredients to being, because here's the thing, why I'm interested in chatting to you is because I think there's a lot of small business owners who, as soon as you say the word selling or sales, shrivel up, shrink, including me. You know, I think sometimes selling's hard because we're going to get rejected most of the time, right?
Yeah.
So you've got 5 things that are going to help us be better salespeople?
Yeah. I'm all about, when I've done a bit of training consultancy within the real estate industry over the years, and I always like to give people good take-home information.
Yeah, love it. That's what this show's about.
Yeah, and I've listened to your podcasts, and
You're the one.
that's why I'm here, because I want to add to it. You're the man, Tim.
You're the man.
But
not step 1, but number 1 is you must absolutely, and I don't want to put words into your mouth, but you must absolutely love what it is you are selling.
You've got to love and you've got to know it. You've got to know the product and love the product. So you can relate this to anything.
Of course.
But knowing it's one thing, but loving it's another. Mm-hmm. So you can answer any question on the spot. You talk with conviction, and I think 93% of communication's not through what you're saying; it's how you're saying it. It's your eyes, it's your whole energy.
Yep.
So people will pick up on something that if you don't love it, if you don't know it, obviously. Yep. But that's certainly a key factor. But the second...
Can I just add to that there is a wonderful saying that goes something like, people forget what you said, people forget what you did, but they'll never forget how you made them feel.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And if you love your product and you know it, people will pick up on that energy and you'll give that energy to them. And that's part of making a sale.
Yeah, okay.
So there's a lot of people that I've done consultancy for, they've got out of real estate. I've helped them. I've been paid for day consultancy in businesses over the years. And the director of the business at the end of the day has said, Nicholas, thanks very much. Payment, what a magnificent day. You've helped me.
I'm out of here.
Decide to get out of real estate. Because deep down, they didn't love it. And I've shifted people with consultancy.
Yeah. So
in
does that mean
sense.
you go in with an intention of giving them the cold hard facts and possibly scaring them into making a decision as to whether it's right or wrong? Or?
Well, they want to learn how to be, a better closer. They want to learn how to, get more turnover. But I bring it right back to these 5 things, and the first one is you got to love it.
Yep.
Now, if you don't love what you do, get out of it.
Get out of it.
Because life's too short.
Yep.
And you won't manifest and get a synchronicity happening within your business unless you love it.
Geez, buddy, we can't move on to point 2 yet because manifestation and synchronicity. You getting all spiritual on us, or what do you mean?
Well, a good way to look at it is...
And I know you like a bit of the spiritual stuff, so go there.
I have gone there, and we'll get there soon. If you want to get a strawberry ice cream, you can get a few dollars out of your pocket. You can walk down, find an ice cream shop, and buy a strawberry ice cream.
Yep.
Synchronicity is where you want a strawberry ice cream, and Mr. Whippy comes past,
Right.
and there it is. It's right there for you.
Yeah.
So things manifest, things start to flow. People, you've heard of the saying, the harder you work, the luckier you get.
Yes.
But I think if you love what you do, that's synchronicity. And synchronicity is the harder you work, the more you get. But it's not that. It's the more you love it, the more you're passionate about it. I think things start to happen. And I achieve huge results within the real estate industry, but I'm not actually trying. It's just all flows. And I never for one day worry about getting a result or is this going to happen. I know it's all happening because I've got these 5 things in place.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah. I've got the 5 that you're interested in.
Yeah, I am. And I'm finding it really hard to move past number 1 because I can relate that to my own business where I do a number of things. I podcast, I speak at conferences, I have my forum, I have a book that I promote, I have all these different things around marketing. I often ask myself, I wonder what would happen if I literally just immersed myself in podcasting and did nothing else because that's my true love, right? It's absolutely the thing I love. And I think, is that kind of what you're talking about, which is identifying that true love and falling into it, right?
Yeah. So I don't look at what I do as a job. Job is just over broke, JOB. I don't look at it as a career. I look at it as a lifestyle. So basically I've retired. I love doing this, and it's not for the money. If someone gave me 100 million tomorrow and said, do whatever, I'd still do what I do.
I don't believe you.
It's 100%. I would still do what I'm doing.
Let me just get you 100 mil. I've got 100 million here. Okay.
Hey, it's in your pocket.
It's in my pocket.
It's true. And that's a test. Absolutely.
It's a good test.
It's a good test. I love what I do because, what else would you do? Like, you need to be fulfilled. You need to...
I could think of a few things.
But you need to be inspired in life. I think being inspired is so important. Like in real estate, I'm privileged to meet a lot of very successful people, and some of them have hit retirement and...
died.
And they're living, but they're not living because they've lost any inspiration. So I think being inspired is being in spirit, and I think being, having a purpose. And I find that if you have a career that inspires you, that you love, it's really living to full potential. Yeah.
You're lucky enough. There's people listening here going, mongrel. Wish I could be like that.
Everyone can be.
Okay. I'm scared to ask how because it seems to be it could be a very long answer. But, like you were lucky enough you fell into real estate a long time ago. It was just, and you've grown to love it, or maybe it was just what you do love from the start.
I think you need to go back to when you were 10, 12, 13, I thought sales is something that just connecting with people and making people feel good. And then I sort of came across real estate and then, realised. So I think if you anyone listening, go back to when you were, primary school, early high school, and before people conditioned you to what you had to do.
Wow.
Like I left school at the end of year 9. I got 99 out of 500. That's another story. I didn't want to be there. So I followed my passion. And there's a lot of people out there that had a passion back when they were young and never for various reasons, followed it. But
Yeah.
you know, take a
How
risk.
true is that?
Do your passion. And I've shifted people from real estate into all other different careers through them, and they're happier. And it's not about money. The money's that, and that's the thing. It's not about the money.
There seems to be a common link. All the successful business owners that I've interviewed, it isn't about the money, despite the fact that they've made a lot of money. They never set out to focus on the money. They set out to focus on something they love, and the money or the whatever they were hoping for came as a result. Right?
Yeah, it's a feeling. I'd rather have the feeling of being passionate and inspired and drive a Toyota Corolla.
I'd love to see you in a Toyota.
No,
Corolla.
but if I was inspired with what I was doing and that's all I could afford, well, I'd rather that than being like
miserable in a Lamborghini.
Miserable in a Lamborghini, like, you know, I've got to get this, I don't like that, you know. There's a lot of people out there that are focused on money and it's all, it's sad, yeah. So number one is loving what you do. And it's knowing it too. It's knowing the product. And if you love it, you'll know it. But the second thing is good intention.
Listeners, I am talking to Nicholas Lynch of Nicholas Lynch Real Estate. Why he's here is because he just loves what he does, and he's a gun salesperson, and we're here to learn more about that. What is the second thing that we need to do that, Nicholas?
And
he's got an agenda.
The second I've got an agenda. Well, the second is it's intention. And it's having a great intention, having good intention. Now, for example, I saw a client yesterday. This client was happy to give me $10,000 to market their property. On referral, you are the agent. His 2.2% commission, and it was a $3.5 million property. Now, I could have walked out of there with a listing and let's get it sold before winter. I talked this client out of selling. I gave the reasons why I felt it was better for them to hold off because I understood their needs and that was the right thing to say. Now, I've had the mum ring me today and she has said, you are the only decent human being in that industry. I'm actually selling a property in Red Hill for $7 million in spring. You have got my listing. I've never met you and you've given my daughter the right advice.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that's having good intention.
True story?
It's a true story.
I've got to ask, mate. You're a real estate agent. I don't know whether you're telling me the truth or not.
That's why I succeed in real estate, because I've got good intention.
Good intention.
See, there's a lot of people that love real estate.
Okay, devil's advocate, you can afford that. You can afford to not get that business.
I've done it since I was 15. I've had good intention with
when you were driving the Toyota Corolla.
I had a bike.
Had a bike?
Well, I was 15. Didn't have a license. A skateboard. But there's a lot of people that love real estate and they know the product, but they haven't got good intention.
It's listing at all costs. At the cost of the buyer, at the cost of everyone's happiness, we're going to get you to sell.
And having good intention gives me an edge in the industry. And that's why I'm in the industry. Because,
what does good intention feel like?
Well, it's talking from the heart. And it's being sincere with people. It's not doing it for the money. It's doing it because you really want to help someone and you see them as a fellow human being.
And it's having them, the client, the prospect, 100% in mind. You're not thinking about, oh, hang on, Nicholas, in order to deliver on this month's KPIs, we really need this. You can't have that discussion. No. Just out of interest, why would you sell in the hot market that we are in right now? Why would you say to someone not to sell?
It was to do with her personal situation and her tax position. Right. Yeah, if she was to make sell a property this financial year. So
I'm getting a little bit emotional, buddy, because so far step 1 and 2 to becoming a great salesperson is love and intention.
Yeah,
hey? Yeah. Well, loving it.
You see, salespeople say to me, what script, what dialogue, what do I need to wear, what do I need to look like?
Drive.
But unless you've got that love and that true intention, nothing else works.
Right.
Yeah. So that's obviously a couple of the key points that I've always found.
Okay. Next.
So the next is, and we're going deep. We're going deep. He's thinking, what?
Are we going deeper? Right. Are we stepping deeper?
We're going deeper.
Okay.
Because
so this love. What's deeper than love?
Well, it's loving yourself.
Okay.
And it's
self-love.
It's self-love. It's like it's loving yourself. It's loving where you are in life, who you're with. It's loving your position in the community. It's being at peace with yourself, and it's you need to be. No one's going to love you unless you love yourself, and no one's going to buy from you unless you love yourself, unless they've got a good feeling from you. So, if you're not happy in different parts of your life, what are the different walks of life? There's
health, marriage, finances.
Yep.
Health, marriage, finances, love, death, and taxes.
Yeah. If you're not happy in those areas and you're not content, well, you're not going to sell anything. You're not going to sell anything, and that's part of the consultants that I've offered over the years. Has had people realise, until they get their own backyard in order, they're never going to be successful real estate salespeople.
See, I did not expect this conversation. I expected a great conversation, and I'm loving it, mate. I still don't know what your agenda is, but I will come to that. But what's really interesting is that I always obviously think about who's listening to this, and I wonder whether they're turning off because they're hoping for how to write the great sales script or how to get through the Doberman on a sales call, or what to wear.
Yeah.
Is that coming, or are we just
that's within 4 and 5. Yeah, I've got 5 points.
Okay, thank you.
But I think don't switch off because here I am. What's good is I don't just talk the talk. I walk the walk. So I'm I was 93 in Australia last year. This year I'm 89. That's over 60,000 registered salespeople in Australia.
And based on what?
That's in commissions earned.
Commissions earned.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I've done $2.5 million in fees. That's personally. To be honest, I could do $5 million in fees, but I could. But you know what? It would mean too much. I want the balance. It would mean not being able to do the other things I want to do.
Because you do work hard, and we'll talk about balance later.
When I'm at work, I'm at work.
You work your ring off?
And when I'm off work, I'm off work. I'm never at work when I'm off work because I'm always at work when I'm at work.
Wow.
Yeah,
okay.
There's a lot of people off work when they're at work.
Yep.
So when they're off work...
Yeah, mate.
You can see.
Yeah, well, the great thing about podcasting is you can rewind and play it again. So.
Yeah.
You with me?
So
love yourself.
Yeah, love yourself. And I think, you got to have your stuff sorted. You've got to know who you are. You've got to be honest to yourself, and you've got to be, in a space that. In a great space, and then you can go into that big wide world and sell, and you can that energy people can feel. Right. They can feel it.
Yeah.
So I think there is a lot in those first 3 things: having good intention, having the love for what you're doing, but loving yourself. Now we're brought up, I love myself. We're brought up to say, you're up yourself or whatever.
Yeah, there's a bit of tall poppy there, isn't
ego.
Yeah.
Well, no, that's positive. I've got 3 boys, as you know, and I teach them to be passionate about whatever you do and to love yourself. And I think, people don't exercise enough. People don't eat right. People don't think right. Most people's minds are in control of them. I'm big into meditation because that enables me, my core, my spirit, to be in control of my mind, which a lot of people aren't. And that's what meditation is. It's controlling the mind to not, dictate what you do.
Again, there's people listening
who go... I won't go into that too much, but...
What did you say?
I won't go down there too much.
No, well, mate, I have actually... I've interviewed previously a guy who runs a meditation business, and I too am into it and love it. And, yeah, it's a wonderful, wonderful thing. Outside of doing exercise, I think meditation is one of those things that can change everything in a heartbeat too, by the way.
The key with meditation, I do active meditation, so I can do 2 things at once. So I run 5 kilometres every day. Every day, 5 kilometres. And within that 5 kilometres, which I do a 5K pace, 5-minute K pace. Yep. So it's 25 minutes. So with that 25, I meditate when running. So it's running for 25 and it's meditating. So it's an active meditation. So it's just focusing on the breath and nothing else. But it's saying to my mind, I am in control. We are thinking about nothing but the breath and exercise.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
And it's a good discipline to do an activity.
It is. I do an open eye meditation. There's many forms of it. And can you just tell us? I'm going to digress here, but you also on each birthday tell us about the run that you do.
I run the age that I am. Yeah. So this year's 48, so I'll run 48k, and I think people in life.
You're looking forward to your 80th?
I can't wait. But people, I'm looking forward to my 120th.
Right.
People are too serious.
Yeah.
And I'm all for adventure.
Yeah.
And I think, just tapping into number 3 a bit more, loving yourself.
Yeah.
People don't have enough adventure in their life. And I think, the internet and you can sort of live adventure through other people too easily. I think it's so important to live adventure in the present. And I think, so there's a lot within.
Do you mean by adventure taking off and climbing a mountain, or
it's
whatever you
going
want
to a live game of sport, not just watching it on telly.
Gotcha.
It's running your age for your birthday. I'm in for a good belly laugh, and people are too serious. So I think if you love yourself, you can laugh at yourself.
Yeah,
and
You've got a weird laugh too. We must try and get more of that before it's more of a squawk.
So I talked about my results earlier because I'm not just talking it, I'm walking it.
Yep.
And I've got a great sales team of 8 people, and I love part of a challenge I've got is to embrace this on a daily to my team, so that they live a better life. And
this philosophy, which is essentially what you are sharing, this life and business philosophy is something that you actively kind of trigger parts of every day, right? It's just part of what you do.
Yeah.
You may see one of your sales team kind of moping around. What can I do to kind of
Well, let's look at these 5 areas, and
right.
I know they love the business, otherwise they wouldn't work with me, and they know the product, but where they at personally, and I think that certainly is something that. So,
love what you do. Have great intention, have self-love. What's the 4th thing to being a great salesperson?
The 4th is it's building trust and rapport before you go to the close. So trust and rapport is so important. Now, last week I was with a client relating it to real estate, and I listened to their 51 trips that they've done on cruise liners. I'm not a big fan of cruise liners, Tim.
I'm not.
I like the Titanic, that film.
Yeah, it was a great film. If you do see me on a cruise,
it's not my thing. But I think you've got to love people. Like, some people don't like people. They'd rather just, it's too hard. But you've got to be a people person, and you've got to love people. And as much as I don't like cruise liners, it was interesting to find out about it. And we had a lot of photo albums out over the lounge room floor. So I hadn't even looked around their property. I hadn't appraised it. I just started asking questions, and that's the key. I've got question after question after question about people, about their past, about their present, about their future, about people. Now,
do you have these questions? Is this a list that you have, a script that you have?
I've just got it. I've got it. And
show interest.
Well, it's about having good intention. It's those top 3. If they're in place and you sit with someone, it doesn't matter if you're selling real estate or selling a car or whatever you're selling.
Yeah.
If you connect in and want to know about them, it's not about finding out their past experiences in real estate. It's finding out about them and just constantly asking questions. Now, these people, as much as I'm not into cruise liners, I'd hate to go on one. I'd be claustrophobic. It was really interesting, and it was. What was interesting? These people were becoming inspired, but they were reliving these trips, and there was some funny stories, and I was there for 2 hours. Now, my assistants, they go, oh, God, it takes you 2.5 hours to get a listing. Well, no. It takes me 2 hours to build rapport, and then I say, now, my fee's 2.2. It's going to cost 10 grand in marketing. You're going to get around 2 mil. Let's get the ball rolling. Nicholas, where do we sign?
Yeah, that's 1 minute. Well, actually, it was about 20 seconds.
Yeah. Then I hate filling out the paperwork.
Yeah.
It takes half an hour. So, but it's people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care, and I think we're dealing with human beings here. We're not dealing with a buyer, with a seller, with a vendor. It's really finding out what makes them tick, and it's building trust and it's building rapport. And
Yeah.
that is something that whether I'm with a buyer or a seller in real estate, I'm really, and I'm interested in it. I've got good intention in it because you learn. Like I don't need to go on a cruise liner now because I've been on 50 to 51. You know? I've seen I've lived it, relived it with these people.
Yeah.
So the fifth is closing.
Just hold that.
Yeah.
Go back to the fourth. It's really interesting. The fellow who I interviewed before you is a digital nomad. He lives a nomadic lifestyle, runs a serious consulting business, has no fixed address. When I interviewed him, was in a tent on Rockhampton Beach overlooking Dunk Island. And he particularly had to work hard at establishing rapport because I said to him, you know, like, mate, you are doing business with people all over the world in shorts and a singlet. In fact, his business is called Barefoot in Business. So that, you know, he's got to work particularly hard. And I think, I don't know whether enough business owners put enough emphasis on that, building trust and rapport. And for you, it's simply getting to know your client, your prospect, asking questions, showing interest. It's about them, not you.
Yeah, it's about them and get them talking. And that in turn builds trust and rapport. But it's, even though I'm not into, it's a good example of the cruise liner because I hate the idea of it, but I still ask the questions because you learn. You learn something about something, and I probably don't not like it as much as I did, but I still wouldn't go on one.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah.
5.
And the fifth is about closing.
You love the close, don't you?
And I am a magnificent closer. A.B.C, always be closing. Now, there's Louis Labradors out there and there's disciplined Dobermans. I'm a disciplined Doberman. Now, you cannot, unless you've got those top 4 in place, you cannot effectively close.
Okay.
Now, most people are warped doors, Tim.
Yeah?
They're warped doors.
What do you mean?
A warped door. They can't close.
We got a drum sound effect.
Because closing is about process, it's about script dialogue, but it's more importantly about process, and it's about going through the doors in the right order. So I've got a selling process to get a listing because my sale in real estate is twofold. One, it's to get the listing over the other agents. They consider 3 agents. We want to win that.
You got to get that.
Secondly, it's a sale to have the buyer buy the property and get the best price. So we've got a process and we've got the doors that you go through on the listing as well as the sales side. Now, for people out there that have a product, you need to have a process that you implement and that your people understand and that you role play, you PDR, you practice, drill, rehearse that. We have an hour and a half of practice, drill, rehearse, role play. We don't do it in a big group because people get intimidated. We have buzz groups. So we all go off into 5 different areas and we role play in pairs and then we come back and have a group chat about what we did right, what we did wrong. And that is every week. Because
Wow.
you cannot practice, drill, rehearse enough. I'm not going to practice on a client. I'm going to practice on my colleague, and you can always get better. You always forget the basics and everything else. So, but this process is about going through doors, and the door won't close if you're trying to close something before you should have closed something else. For example,
can I just understand this? Is this a lot of what we've spoken about is emotional?
Yeah.
Philosophical. Is this now a rational, literally, you've got to get this form signed before this, or is it we've got to talk about the commission before we can talk about the price? Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's rational.
Yeah, it is. And so, look, here I am with a vendor who obviously can sense my good intention and they see I love what I do, I know about what I do, they can see I'm confident with myself, but it's an energy thing. They can feel those first 3 we talked about. I've got the trust through asking question after question, and I've got good intention with those questions. So it's not like I'm just if you can't constantly have, it's so easy to get someone talking about themselves.
Of course,
and
I'm doing it right now.
yeah, exactly. But to then you need to have that process, that structure, and I call it going through the doors. And you can have a series of doors that the first door is when going for a listing. The first door is, if you like, building the trust and rapport. So there's no point in closing for the advertising campaign unless you've got that door closed. The door won't close if you're trying to close something in the wrong order. Like you're not going to close on advertising if you haven't won their trust.
Gotcha.
We'll think about it. You're not going to close on the fee you want if you haven't closed the things you should have earlier.
I love the way you think about it, a series of doors. A bit like Get Smart, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. And it's going through the door. Now, if that door won't I say, well, you're a warped door, you haven't closed, it's not the client, it's you. So the first door is trust and rapport with a vendor, and then the next door is you've got to give them your opinion of value on that property. Like, there's no point in trying to sell your fee if you haven't told them what the opinion of value is, because they're going to be thinking, well, but what does he think it's worth? What does he think it's worth? So you've got to, like, I'm just relating this to real estate, but you've got to relate it to your business. What are the doors you have to close to make the sale of your product? That's the question I'm putting to people listening. What are the doors you have to close to make the sale of your product? Now, brainstorm it, workshop it with your team, and then what is the order of those doors? Now, I know I've got to sell trust and rapport, and that's the first door for all of us. But then I've got to give a comparative market analysis, and I've got to have the person understand that similar properties have sold for X, and for them to see that I'm knowledgeable and that's something you need to get out of the way. Now, if a vendor wants more, bring it on. If it's out there, I'll get it. But they want to know their CMA. Then I close my fee. A lot of salespeople leave the hardest door till the end when I get it out straight away. So, it's important to say now my fee's 2.2 and I want to give you case studies and you know what? Stories. Number 5, closing, you've got to talk stories. Now, the feel, felt, found close is gold. Now, I actually perfected this when I was younger at the 21st Century nightclub. I understand how you feel.
This is a nightclub in dirty downtown Frankston, an interesting suburb of Victoria.
Yeah.
Feel,
felt, found. I understand how you feel. Mary felt the same way. What she found, so feel, felt, found. So you can have a bit of fun when you're younger, because I learned this.
You've got to go through that and call Mary Donna, because I think Donna would have been a more appropriate name down there at that time.
But if I'm all for as much training and as much information as I can get, and I learnt this when I was 15.
It hasn't quite dropped for me. Feel,
felt, found.
Feel, felt, found.
Well, your feelings you're relating to them. You understand how you feel.
Yep.
Okay. So if a vendor, rather than going to the, so
I know where you're at. I know where you're at.
Yeah. I want to be trying to keep it serious.
Yeah.
You can imagine you imagine what it'd be like with picking up a girl. But anyway, so
let's do that one. It doesn't have to be about real estate. So I'm the girl. Come on, role play.
I want to be serious.
My name is Donna.
Yeah. Okay. Well, If it's about objections, isn't it? And that's what closing, you've got to make sure you can close. So I understand how you feel.
I think you're a real scallywag, Nicholas. I don't really want to go any further with you.
Yeah, I understand how you feel.
Right.
Yeah, I understand.
Okay.
Then I don't want to talk about the girl. I want to try and keep it serious. I want to keep it serious because I want people to see it as a serious.
Is that your agenda? That you're trying to portray a serious Nicholas Lynch? You are, mate. Yeah.
But with it's an important part of the closing, so I don't want people to think it's just
okay. Fun. I'm selling the house.
I understand how you feel if someone's not wanting to pay 2.2%. I understand how you feel because that is the highest fee that people pay. You feel that it's too much.
Yeah, it is, mate. I've had quotes at 1.8.
Okay. Well, the Murrays felt exactly the same way 2 months ago. Now, here's a brochure.
He's an alcoholic.
Here's a brochure on the Murray's place. They felt the same way as you did about 2.2. What they found was that 2.2 actually earned them another $250,000 approximately to what they would have accepted. So I understand how you feel. This client felt the same, but what they found...
right.
So feel, felt, found is just a way of introducing a story, but it's bringing them in because great closers don't push. Great closers lead people.
Yeah, right.
So I'm about leading people and having them close themselves. So feel, felt, found is a way of doing that. So within your business, my team, we've got stories, and we use Phil Felt Found to bring them in.
And do you actually, because this is interesting, we have a lot of story discussion on this show, and do you actively seek out those stories and they become what I would call key messages in your business so that all the different staff know them and can, I'm going to pull that one off the shelf now?
Yeah, absolutely. And we share each other's stories because we're a team. So in closing, you've got to have the doors that you've got to close. You've got to do them in the right order. You've got to have stories, and you've got to work towards getting that okay. So I never use contract. I never use authority. I never use sign. I use paperwork. I use okay. I never cross where they sign. I do a tick.
Yeah.
It's those golden oldies of great salespeople.
Yeah.
Tom Hopkins is a top real estate lecturer. You probably heard of him, Tim, in the States, and I learned a lot from him when I started. So just back to real estate, 2.2%. Understanding you feel, they felt the same way. This is what they found. And I will give a story, but then I'll say, now, based on that, are you happy, are you comfortable moving forward with me as your agent at 2.2%? Now, there's other things we need to discuss, but are you comfortable to pay 2.2 to me? Nicholas, I'd still want to think about, okay, well, I need to tell you about this result. And
story.
But it's I go into the stories elaborate. I have them see it. I have them see we put this property up. We had 6 people to a preview. We had over 50 groups to the open for inspection. We then had 7 offers come in.
Right.
The owner would have accepted.
Story.
The owner would have accepted this, but I ended up getting more from the buyer. The owner said, "Don't lose them." I said, "The lacquer band, I won't let it snap. I won't let the lacquer band snap." But that's what I
Tell me,
and that's a great line for a client to know. All my sellers know the lacquer band, and they know I'm going to stretch it, but I'm not going to let it snap.
Yeah, right.
Because there are some salespeople that the lacquer
push too hard, pull too hard.
They pull too hard too quick, but there's some that don't even pull.
Yeah, right.
They just go through the motions.
Finish up with a little...
You get what you pay for.
There's a wonderful thing that you told me many months ago about the speed wobble. And I've always liked this story. There's a little strategy of yours.
The speed wobble, we can relate it in any... And that's all part of this closing. It's all part of closing.
Yeah.
So when dealing with a buyer, it's like a discovery price. So if recent sales have been around 1.5, I'll say to a buyer, would you pay 1.8 million? Now, there's nothing illegal, unethical about that. It's saying, well, what would you pay? Because it's a rising market, and if you want to win the property, take the blinkers off to what you might pay for it to hopefully knock out the other competition. And it's having people think big.
And it's the speed wobble because as a kid we'd ride down the hill on the bike, get the wobbles, and half of you is going, how good's this? The other half is going, I'm dead.
Everyone's had a speed wobble on a bike. Everyone's been on a bike at one point in their life and had a speed wobble where you feel, whoa, I've got to slow up a little bit here, and I know the boundaries of riding a bike. That's the look someone gives you when you give them the speed wobble. So you can speed wobble in any... It's a form of bracketing. It's like if you want, like, just talk numbers. If you want 5, you speed wobble at 10.
Yeah, right.
To get 5. Like you don't just go in and at it. Bracketing is obviously another form of closing. So I can talk about Phil Felt Found. I can talk about bracketing. I can talk about speed wobble. All these techniques, which is number 5, and that's probably what you thought I was going to talk about.
Totally.
Only today.
Totally.
But it doesn't matter. And this is the key. It doesn't matter how well scripted, how well dialogued, how well trained, how well structured.
Your suit is.
It doesn't matter about all that. If you don't have good intention, if you don't love what you do, if you don't love yourself, and if you don't win people's trust, nothing's going to happen. And that's what I think people need to look at, those top 4. I think they've already got number 5 sorted. Yeah,
okay. Nicholas, I need to close this interview. I feel like we've covered a lot of ground. I felt at the start we were going in a direction I wasn't expecting to go, but I found that you really covered some interesting topics that I would never have expected a bloke like you, who's got his Lamborghini out the front, to have covered. So thanks, buddy, for sharing, and hopefully what you have shared is about to change the way small business owners all over the world view selling.
Fantastic. Thank you. Love the opportunity.
Oh, and by the way, your agenda, did we cover it?
Yeah, we did. Yeah. That were the 5 things I wanted to cover.
Okay. So there was an ulterior motive. Thanks, buddy.
Yeah, cool.
There you go, team. Nicholas Lynch from Nicholas Lynch Real Estate. Do you enjoy it? I should have actually said at the start, have a pen and paper at the ready because, gee, there was some stuff in there, wasn't it? It was like a masterclass for sales. Coming up, I share my top 3 attention grabbers from that fireside chat with Nicholas. Plus, I've got another low-cost marketing idea for you. But first, here's a word about a very cool email application. This show is lovingly supported by Fastmail, an insanely secure, ad-free email hosting service for that beautiful business of yours. I asked Fastmail's operations engineer, aka lead geek, Rob Norris, what part of Fastmail geeks him out the most.
Push notifications, actually, which sounds kind of ridiculous, but you know, an email arrives and then, you know, my desktop client and my phone both have the email there sort of, you know, within seconds. And I worked on a lot of that, sort of the infrastructure to make all that happen. And so I know how kind of complicated it is. So it gives me a little thrill every time I think, yeah, you know, all of that stuff's working and I'm getting my email like straight away.
Fastmail, where little thrills make a big difference. Packages start from less than $4 a month and you can grab a free 30-day trial plus 15% off your first year over at fastmail.com/Timbo. All right, my top 3 attention grabbers from my chat with Nicholas Lynch, thanks to 52ways.biz and Fastmail. Attention grabber number 1. I love Nicholas's doors analogy. This is such a great way to visualise the close, that all-important close. The key here, I reckon, is to identify what each door is in the closing process, then make sure you go through them in the order that they were intended, closing each one behind you as you go. Nice little visualisation exercise. Attention grabber number 2. I like his feel, felt, found structure. What a great way to bring prospects around to your way of thinking by showing empathy. It's also a pretty simple structure for storytelling, which we talk a lot about on this show. Feel, felt, found. Attention grabber number 3, have the right intention. I love this one. Now, whilst I love all of Nicholas's 5 keys to nailing the sale, I particularly love number 2, which was all about having the right intention. I honour this one a lot when speaking from stage, recording this show, and pretty much any time I'm writing a proposal for a client. Having the right intention is a good thing. Hey, what grabbed your attention? Love to know. smallbusinessbigmarketing.com/365 is where you can leave your feedback.
What have you got to lose?
It's time for one simple yet effective marketing idea that you can implement immediately, that's not going to cost you a fortune, and that most likely, well implemented, will generate you more awareness, more inquiry, more sales. I call today's idea the social proof confidence booster. Now, social proof is a marketing tactic used to ease the minds of worried customers. It's a type of conformity in that we decide to do what we think others are doing. Sort of like towing the line, if you will. In business, social proof can be a powerful tool when it comes to influencing purchase decisions. Many businesses' websites display some sort of social proof in an effort to boost conversions. You can and should use the same strategy to persuade more people to convert when they land on your website. Sure, you might not have as many users as Facebook or send your products to customers in every single country in the world like Amazon, but you can still come up with and display on your website social proof that relates to your business in some way. So, here's my 3 steps to creating buyer confidence with social proof. Step 1, think about what kind of social proof statement or visual you can display on your website. For example, you can share customer testimonials, the number of products you've sold, the number of customers or followers you have, how many cities, states or countries you ship products to, or review ratings from your products or your services. Step 2, get a web designer or graphic designer to illustrate your social proof statement to then incorporate your new graphic on your homepage. And step 3, create a few different social proof statements to split test using a tool like Optimizely. And here's the pro tip. Why keep these social proof statements to just your website? Use them in brochures, sales letters, point of sale, proposals, slide decks, any touch point where someone is making a decision about buying from you. That's my 3 steps to creating buyer confidence with social proof. You can head over to smallbusinessbigmarketing.com/365 where you'll find some additional resources, including some real-world examples of social proof statements. And if you'd like help implementing any of the marketing ideas I share in this segment, and there's been nearly 30, possibly 29 so far, go ahead and join the Small Business Big Marketing Club over at crankmymarketing.com, where I'll personally support you on your marketing journey. So, what have you got to lose? Well, that almost wraps up another episode of the Small Business Big Marketing Show, but don't fret. There's plenty of marketing gold coming your way in the weeks ahead, including a chat with the founder of the iconic Ugg Boots brand. Hey, have you listened to the chat I had with Ant Morell, the founder of the indoor playground craze called Bounce? This $80 million business does a lot of things well, including training their staff.
They're really robust as to who they are. So all of the mess is out of the way. And what it means is they're very easy to deal with. You know, they're friendly, but they're not overly sort of hyped up. They're full of energy, enthusiasm, and there's something just very potent and real about the way they make you feel. So I guess that idea that if you can help someone be comfortable with who they are and then allow them to be who they are in a working environment, then they'll be brilliant at being themselves, because it's the only thing I guess you can be very good at is the best version of yourself. And then they'll be really good at dealing with all sorts of different other people because they kind of got their own ego and garbage out of the way.
You'll find that full interview plus hundreds more over at smallbusinessbigmarketing.com, or go ahead and subscribe free on your favourite podcast catcher. Hey, I'd love to hear from you. Email me, tim@timreid, reid.com.au, or join the Small Business Big Marketing Facebook page where I try to share the lighter side of marketing. Be sure to grab your free seat at Dale Beaumont's 52 Ways event that will be touring Australia and New Zealand in May, June and August this year. Go to 52ways.biz and grab your seat now, as they are limited. And check out Fastmail, private, secure, ad-free email hosting that's lightning fast. You can grab a free 30-day trial plus a listener-exclusive 15% off over at fastmail.com/Timbo, with packages starting from just under $4 a month. It's pretty damn inexpensive. Hey, if you love the Small Business Big Marketing Show, then let another business owner or 3 know about it. Grab their phone and download it for them. That's the best thing you can do for me. Until next week, I'm Timbo Reid. Thanks for tuning in. May your marketing be the best marketing. Bye for now.